This challenge to Southeast Asia is a little complicated because these countries do have a right to develop. As a Filipino and also as a resident of Cambodia for the past 3 years, development does help a lot of the citizenry in our region. So I think trying to find a way to balance the need for development and uplifting of poverty to environmental protections at a time of climate change is something that we can discuss more in this chat, and it's something being figured out in all of the COPs.
So basically we have a model when you have empowered communities leading the example that ensure the biodiversity protection, but also ensure income generation, infrastructure improvements, gender equity, social security and food security, territorial autonomy. All those benefits can result in an increasing self-esteem and sense of pride, which is very important to keep people living in rural areas, but with good conditions in terms of quality of life. I think for a long time, conservation was something at the end, like a project output, a project outcome. And in fact, what we see is that conservation is a way of life. It's a way that people can improve their quality of life, can keep their world views, their spiritual value, and all these things are important in tropical environment.
We've had a couple of meetings with the Minister of Environment from Colombia and among indigenous peoples worldwide to talk about what our priorities would be, because COP16 is the COP where they follow up on implementation, right? They have to look at the status of revision of the national biodiversity strategies. And what we are looking at in particular is how indigenous peoples have been engaged and have been part of that process.
In all the conversations about climate finance, some of the regions and countries that would be meant to receive the largest amount of the pot often struggle the most with corruption. And that's like a really tender topic to get into.
A successful COP from a security perspective would mean things like enabling mechanisms to ensure nations meet their targets, because that reduces ecological risks that can lead to instability. It would mean streamlining funding to vulnerable people to enhance resilience, reducing the risk of resource conflicts.
There is no pathway towards addressing the biodiversity crisis without indigenous peoples and local communities. And in order to get there, there has to be full, effective, equitable participation of indigenous peoples and local communities in the planning, implementation, and monitoring of the targets and the goals that we have set for ourselves as a global community.